The company was founded.
All right, good morning, Gate City.
Good morning.
I know you probably are all wondering why I'm up here. It is, we've obviously gone way down the depth chart. I'm not supposed to have to do this for a couple of years, but here I am anyway. It seems like we've got most of our Gate City Rotary leadership all over the world right now. So here I am. We've got a packed meeting today, so the good news is I don't have to stand up here and say much. Hal, let's go ahead and kick it off with invocation.
All right. Bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day to be with our friends, co-workers, and fellow Rotarians. We thank you for this opportunity to gather together and hopefully try to make some child's world a little better today. Please be with Emily and our board of directors and Dan and his fundraising committee as we start our new Rotary year. And please help us as members to do our best to raise the necessary money to fund our projects that so positively impact children and their families. And finally, please bless this food as the nourishment of our bodies and us to thy service. In his name I pray, amen. Amen. Please join me for the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of the things we think, say, and do,
is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Rotary moment, and y'all are going to hate it, but it's the bell. I tried all morning to think of something else besides the bell, but as you know, with my happy dollars, I am head over heels in love with my two little girls, and I just can't. I told my wife, I said, when I am dead and gone, and they are in their 70s, and they hear that bell ring, they'll think about their dad, and so that is my Rotary moment.
Thanks a lot, Hal. Glenn, you got a Sergeant at Arms report for us?
Yes. Boy, we were busy this morning. First of all, it's great to be back. I was on vacation last week up in Maryland eating some Maryland blue crab, so it's good to be back. That's why I'm a little bit heavier this week. We have 4 visiting Rotarians, and also we have 4 guests. I'm going to mention about the visiting Rotarians first. We have Neil Wilcox from Summit Rotary. And we have Carrie, I can't remember, what's her last name?
Hale,
excuse me, I'm sorry, from Greensboro Rotary. We have Bob Glenn from Guilford Rotary. And Paul Ashby from Greensboro Rotary. And then we have 4 guests, but I'm going to have each member. We have Dennis Newman. You want to introduce your guests?
Yes, brought a guest today, Julie Munzer. She's a CPA liaison for Paychecks and just interested in what Rotary does and just to attend the meeting.
Wonderful, welcome. And Dorothy, you have a guest as well. You want to introduce your guest?
Well, this is Vicki Pope. She works with me, but she's our speaker later, so we'll hear about Vicki a little bit.
All right, wonderful, welcome. Ralph, you have a guest. Is Ralph here?
Yeah, I'm Ralph. Ralph's not here. We don't know where Ralph is. This is Jeff Tillman, very good friend of mine. Him and his wife, Mary Kay, are both dear friends of ours. Jeff is with Into Magazine. It's a fairly newer publication that they're doing on Greensboro neighborhoods. You may have seen the Starmount version or the Urban Park version. And Jeff was supposed to meet Ralph here, but he's kind of missing in action. So I've stepped in. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome, Jeff. We got Buster. Buster, you have a guest here.
Jason, stand up. This is Jason Hall. He's a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill, and he works in development with ground investment. And come to check us out.
Bobby, I thought you said this was hard. Just running the meeting stuff isn't that bad. All right, we might hit a hiccup here. I'm not seeing Randy Elliott, and Jim Kennedy reminded me this morning Randy is out for pretty extensive back surgery. I believe the surgery itself is today, right, Jim? Or is it noon? And he'll be laid up for at least a week before he starts a pretty long rehab. So along those lines, does anybody have birthdays and anniversaries?
I was going to say,
Excellent.
I've got one person with two birthday and an anniversary for this week. It's Don Towery on the 18th this Friday, and he's got a Rotary anniversary of 6 years on which was last Monday on the 14th. That's it.
All right, very good. Bobby, you wanted to do some house cleaning?
Yeah. I thought you'd seen the last of me. If Dennis Marcotte, Steve Brandon, and Kevin Barth would come forward, please. I want to thank you all for your participation last year. We missed the changing of the guard, but here is a token of appreciation and good help. One for Dennis, one for Steve, and one for Kevin. Thank you for your service and your continued service. I drank it. It was full when I bought it. I just wanted to make sure it was suitable for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot, Bobby. Hopefully you'll be able to unload the rest of those here before too long.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so continuing the theme of house cleaning, I've got a couple of first-time perfect attendance awards left over from the changing of guard I want to hand out, and I think all these guys are here. Glenn Earlis,
Yeah.
first year,
Wow.
perfect attendance. Mike Allen, I see you back there somewhere. There you are. Mike Andrus, there you go. You look shocked, man. You did it. You had perfect attendance. I promise. I was just as surprised as anybody. Kevin Barth. And Walt Howell. Woo! There you go. And I have a couple of discs to hand out to folks, but I forgot my list today, so I'll have to get those folks their disc a little while later. All right, other announcements. Anybody have any announcements they feel like they need to make? Cheryl, do you have anything you want to say on fundraiser?
Sure, we are still looking for corporate sponsors, so I've got a whole list of people who sponsored in years past, and I'm going to call you to see if you'd be so kind to get those same people to re-up. But any of you could go to work today if you remember and just see if anybody would like to sponsor our Party with a Purpose. Sponsorships start at 500, they go all the way up to 5,000, and they have some great things attached to them. Rooms at the Oak Henry, party beforehand, so please help us.
Cheryl, quick question.
Sure.
Is there a limit on those sponsorships? I'm not saying I've got like
No.
5 of those 5,000 sold, but if,
There is no limit on the sponsorships, we will just get more rooms
Okay.
and bigger limos.
okay.
Buster said he'd do a $5 sponsor.
All right, Buster. I'm gonna lead off. I'm gonna lead off the first happy dollar. How about those Green Valley Gators City Meet champs? Yeah, they did. Judge Hassel, where you at? You heard that right? I just want to make sure you were talking.
Thank you so much.
That's Green Valley Gators.
We're saying-
Where have you guys been is my question.
Chris, you gotta watch that, buddy. 1 year is 1 year.
You're right. You're right.
Congratulations, Green Valley Gators. And I gave my mother's award out for the 34th year. It's hard to believe she's been gone that long, but congratulations to the Greensboro Elks Club, who got most outstanding sportsmanship for the city meet as a team.
I got $2. One's Ashley Wiggler's mother and father live up the street from us, and they were in Atlanta last week. Brenda had a fall, broke her wrist in 8 places. The ER doc in Atlanta said, "Oh, it's only broken in 2. You can wait till next Wednesday when you get back to Greensboro to get it fixed." She was in such pain that they came back early, went to the hand center, broken in 8 places, not 2, and now she's on the mend. That's the first dollar. The second dollar is an EMF plug. We were at Temple Manuel last night and heard the EMF professionals and scholars Play a lot of one of my favorite composers of Vivaldi, including the Four Seasons Suite. So, terrific turnout and fantastic performance.
I don't do this very often, do I? Once every 3 or 4 years. To go back to the swim meet, nice to hear that the Elks Club got the award because my granddaughter swam for them for the first time this year. And she was, in the picture that they took of the swim meet, she was the swimmer that they took the picture of. So I don't know, probably none of you will remember that. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I saw that in the paper. You had to mention I got to say that.
Hey, just back from the Philippines, where I did some teaching, but more importantly, got to see my daughter. I got to see her in action there. She shared at Rotary just last year. But greetings from Lindsay, who pointed out every Rotary sign in the Philippines. Well, got to see Dad. There's another one there. So she was thinking of you. And on Hope Ride, we just passed $90,000 raised, and just got news of a major grant that is going to make a big difference in what we're doing.
Well, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, when I was kind of doing my little bio about myself, I'm a huge baseball fan, and one of the reasons I went to Baltimore last week is I got a chance to pay homage to one of my favorite players, Derek Jeter, who's retiring this year. So I got a chance to go back to Camden Yards and see the Yankees play the Orioles. So it was great to be there, and enjoyed it. So.
Well, congratulations to the Green Valley Gators. And this is the fourth summer we have not done city meet because our girls aged out in 2010. However, for the first 6 years that Molly Hassel swam, the Gators won the city meet every year. And finally, friendly and Byerly people here would certainly remind us, overtook them, and then we had some good years with the Greensboro Country Club Blue Dolphins. But that's not my happy dollar. My happy dollar is
Give another dollar out.
That's a sad dollar.
Giving out the attendance awards, it's important that we keep up our attendance, and Chris has done such a great job of that, and he's done a great job reminding me of what I need to do to keep my attendance up. And makeups are, of course, the best way to do that. We've got some folks here from other clubs. The way I've been able to keep my streak intact all these years, by and large, has been my makeup club of choice, which is Greensboro Rotary. We have some Greensboro Rotarians here. It's my father's club. A number of you know a number of folks in that club. It's a great club. And they have a thing about, they give me grief about, well, you need to just come on over and join, or you come to this club more than some of our own members and that kind of thing. But it was convenient for a number of years for me when it was downtown, and I just sort of kept up the habit. And a couple of weeks ago, they have a little paper makeup name tags that they give you, and I couldn't find mine. And I went through that about two iterations or so. And when I walked in yesterday to do makeup, and by the way, I need to tell somebody about that. There's Coach Sawyer, and there's Sheriff Birch, and so, oh, Robbie, we got you right over here. They have made a badge for me, a blue badge, and the vocation is Gate City Visitor. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's good.
Carl goes, he's not there.
You thought he was just doing a minute.
Real quick, let me add this one, and I'm just going to be brief. Before everybody thinks about how terrible the Greensboro Community Swim Association parents are, I'm just teasing you. Longest running cancer benefit in the United States. Has been going for 40-some years. So when those little kids come to your door and want some money, please help them. They've raised almost $4 million.
And they swim those laps, guys.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they really do. Our kids, I think, put in a combined some like 600 laps for Swim for Cancer this year.
That would take me like a month. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right.
One more. Well, Grandpappy always used to say, it's a sure sign you're getting old when your friends tell you how good you look. So y'all just remember that.
I All right, guys, well, we have a late add-on to the agenda. Our good friend Rebecca Byerly is back to give us a quick update on her Women of the Mountain documentary. So Rebecca, I'm going to turn that over to you, and I'll handle IT. So just keep
I'm
me
back.
ready to talk.
It is great to be here. I hope everyone appreciates that it's not 118 degrees like it was when I left India about 3 weeks ago. I was here in January and I shared that for the last year and a half I've been producing and directing Women of the Mountain. It's a documentary film about the women who run the longest ultramarathons at the highest mountain ranges and the women who live in those mountains. And the whole theme, the whole purpose of this film is to rise above. I grew up here in North Carolina, was exposed to domestic abuse most of my life within that family, lived in the Middle East and South Asia, and just saw the need for the empowerment of women. So this is what Women of the Mountain is about. Today is the day we go live with our Kickstarter. It all started with Rotary back in 2006 when I got a Rotary ambassadorial scholarship to go to India, which changed the course of my life forever and ultimately led to this film. So I wanted to take it home, take it to you guys, and kick off our Kickstarter launch today by sharing our video.
Women of the Mountain is about the women who run the longest ultramarathons in the highest mountain ranges.
It's also about the women who call those mountains home.
The last decade, I've run thousands of miles and met inspiring women around the world.
We have traveled the world making documentary films and reported for the New York Times, National Geographic, and other publications. The last year and a half, we have been producing and directing Women of the Mountain. We have already shot half the film. To finish the documentary, we need your help.
In Ladakh, India, we profiled Aparna. She's the first Indian woman to ever run a 135-mile race that twice reaches nearly 18,000 feet in elevation. What we didn't plan is that she'd miss the first cutoff and be disqualified.
Officially, it's just not happening. Okay, fine. Officially, it's not happening. So just mark that against your name that officially it didn't happen. I mean, this is a public road. I can't stop you anyways, right?
Aparna shows us how to prevail through the unexpected.
Women of the Mountain is not about running. Our film is about how we rise above the challenges we face. Tennis grew up in the Himalayas and wanted to be a mountain bike. She was told that it's not a job for women. She overcame the challenge and started her own trekking company.
Our characters remind us that life is not about finishing first. Life is about going beyond your limits. In Pontresina, Switzerland, we met Karen, a former Olympic cross-country skier.
Ich glaube, wir waren schon sehr enttäuscht, ja, weil so nahe, 5 Sekunden hinter der Bronzemedaille, das ist schon wenig im Langlauf. Aber ja, so ist das Leben. Es ist so im Sport, es gibt immer Gewinner und Verlierer und ja, für uns war es auch nachher okay. 4. Rang war auch super.
The Swiss Iron Trail is a 125-mile race through the Alps. Anke is a former runner on the German national team. At 47, she refuses to let age define her.
With the mountain running, you don't have to be that quick. There are other qualities which are more important, mental qualities, and good reaction to weather conditions and things like that.
Our final race is the Tahoe 200 in California. It's the first ever 200-mile race to be held in the United States. In Tahoe, we are going to profile 2 women, a determined American Rom who's competing in the race, and a Native American woman whose tribe has called the Sierra Nevada home for centuries.
To finish our film, we need $45,000. This money will go towards filming expenses in Tahoe, months and months of editing, post-production, and for further support of the film.
The stories of the 6 women we profile remind us that we can always rise above. Thank you for your help in bringing their stories to life.
Now I turn it over to our community, and I ask for your help in supporting Women of the Mountain. I'm going to send an email with a link to our Kickstarter to you this afternoon. And the goal would be, if everyone in this room gave $100, or if your company, I don't know, if what companies you're attached to, but it all matters. We have options where for $5,000 we'll give you a private screening. We have a set of beautiful pictures, but you've just seen some of them, in this video that would look beautiful in your home or in your company. I would love to speak at your children's schools. We are so open, and this whole idea is just to spread this bigger message globally that we can always rise above, and that is within all of us. So I look forward to seeing the support from this club, and also please share the message with your family and friends. Chris has told me I only have 5 minutes, and I'm sure I've gone over that. So again, just thank you all for getting me here the last 7 years, and more than that, really 12 years. And I look forward to seeing your support for Women of the Mountain. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to our guest speaker today. We're very fortunate to have Vicki Pope. Vicki is a friend and colleague of our own Dorothy Downey, and she is a reverse mortgage specialist. She's been in the financial services industry for 14 years. She's always had a great respect for older adults, so you're right at home in this room. That's captive audience. And she began serving the older adult community as a reverse mortgage specialist. She knows that there are many misconceptions about reverse mortgages, and she enjoys educating seniors and others about the advantages of this program when it is properly used. Today she's going to share the basics of the reverse mortgage industry and provide real-life examples of seniors she has worked with whose lives are significantly better because of this program. When she's not serving customers, she enjoys coaching Special Olympics, cycling, spending time with friends, and visiting the North Carolina High Country. And I guess we'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Good morning. Thank y'all. Thank you very much for having me, and Dorothy, thank you for inviting me. The main thing I would like to stress with the reverse mortgage, a lot of folks are not really familiar with it. You hear all the bad horror stories of things, and the program has changed so much nowadays, and it's much more regulated than it used to be. What you will find is that seniors will see the Fred Thompson show on TV or the ads, and they call these 800 numbers and they request information. A lot of times they will be sent information that they then just sign by mail or fill out, and they don't have anybody locally to talk to. So what our bank is doing is we've increased our reverse mortgage division. Because of the new changes, the bank feels very comfortable about the program as long as it's used correctly. And for most people that don't know, the reverse mortgage program is for seniors 62 years and older. It is based on the equity in your home. The guidelines stress that the home value and the age of the youngest borrower is what determines what a person is eligible for. Where you used to find a lot of folks would use this program as a needs-based program, where maybe they were in financial dire straits and they couldn't make payments, or they just needed money to pay other things, or maybe even health care. But what's happening now with the new changes, you'll find that there are many investment folks that are out there, CPAs, just different private bankers that are using this program to help seniors to, one, be able to stay in their home and not have to go in a nursing home. Also, so you don't have to tap into your investments, because on the reverse mortgage there are no the tax laws protect you from having to pay taxes on these funds. But where you'll find the best situations are typically when a borrower is looking to maybe either stay in their home, they don't want to go in a nursing home, or they may even want to use those funds, say they've lost a spouse and they need extra income because their income has been reduced. And there's also a new program where you can use the reverse for purchase, where it allows a senior to downsize from their current home, purchase a new home, and be able to keep their funds. They don't have to use all their funds to not have a mortgage payment. Also, some of the best examples I can probably give to you where it really benefits someone is where you may have someone, again, wanting to stay in their home and not go into a nursing home. You can use your funds for anything that you choose, which could be to pay for in-home health care. Also to be able to just provide the extra income for what you're trying to do. But one of the main misconceptions is that if you do a reverse mortgage, then the bank is going to now own your home. That is not true. What happens in the reverse is the borrowers are allowed to stay there as long as they live, as long as it's their primary residence. And then once it's no longer their primary residence, the family still inherits the home if they've left the home to someone, to where all they have to do is pay off the mortgage, whatever's owed at that time, just like you would on a traditional mortgage, and then they still inherit whatever difference there is. It's also considered a non-recourse loan, meaning that your family is not liable for the difference that's owed. But the main misconception is that the bank is going to take your home, you now have nowhere to live, and with the new guideline changes, even if a spouse is younger than 62, they can now be on the loan as a non-borrowing spouse and remain in that residence for the remainder of their life. That is probably the biggest misconception there, is that they're going to kick somebody out and they're not going to have a home. But the main thing I wanted to say this morning is, we all know someone, we all know seniors, we all have parents or friends or family. If the reverse mortgage is used correctly and family members are involved in the decision, it can be a great product to make significant changes in seniors' lives if they're struggling in their elder years. So I would welcome anyone that maybe has questions, would like to know more information about it. I know we have a short amount of time here, and I appreciate you letting me come in, and I do have some information here if anyone's interested that I can give you that really explains a lot more of the program. But the main thing is just to know that guidelines now have really changed. They're a lot stricter, and it protects the senior, which it should. So thank you so much for having me this morning.
Oh, Vicki, we got plenty of time.
Okay. I'm like, I gotta hurry.
No,
So I'm probably talking in circles. I apologize, because I was thinking, I gotta hurry up.
Do you have some examples of people you've done it with?
I really do, and some of my best examples are really right here in Greensboro. I had one situation where there was two elderly ladies. This is probably my favorite situation. They had owned a home together. One was 87, one was 81, and the 87-year-old was taking care of the 81-year-old. When I met them, they were actually working with AAG online, and they were just going to sign stuff and send it back. Truly did not even know what they were doing. So fortunately, they saw an ad. I was able to get with them, and they did the loan with us, and myself and several folks in my office. Actually, we all helped to get their house in order and did some repairs so that it would appraise. But in their situation, they were one of the ones that was more of a need base. They were behind on everything. We kept them from going into foreclosure. They really couldn't pay anything. They were skipping medication because they couldn't afford to buy it. So the reverse mortgage for them, fortunately, took care of all their debts and left them with a lot of money that they were able to leave in a line of credit, which I always recommend, because if it's just sitting in a line of credit, you're not paying interest on it. And plus, you're not as likely to spend the money, obviously. But it was able to get them out of all that financial bind. Another situation here in Greensboro, a gentleman, his wife had passed away a couple years ago, and as we all do, you've got two incomes and you're spending money and you're going through and life is good and you're helping the grandkids and your kids, and next thing you know, she passes away and now he's down to one Social Security benefit and only had half the income and couldn't pay his bills. I mean, he was struggling, he was just kind of treading water. We were able to do the reverse with him. He was able to keep a lot of money in his, in his line of credit, which now he just draws off of enough to supplement his needs each month. Then with the reverse for purchase, actually in my office, my branch manager at the time, his parents wanted to downsize. They no longer needed the size home they were in and wanted to move closer to family. So they used the reverse for purchase to be able to downsize, put the money down on the home, which typically you can say is about 50% down. And then they no longer have a mortgage payment. So instead of paying cash for the home, they were able to use the rest of those funds to invest in other investments. But those are pretty much the better scenarios of things. Yes, sir.
Maybe I'm the only one, but I don't really know what a reverse mortgage is.
It's
I don't know what the concept is.
Well, you're using.
Maybe I'm too young.
No, yes. You're using the equity in your home, and based on the appraised value of the home and the age of the borrower, which you have to be 62 or older. The older you are, the more you qualify for. You are basically using the equity that's already built up in your home, but you don't have a payment on that. So let's just say you had $50,000 of equity.
It just continues to accrue
That's correct. It accrues interest over time. And one other thing there, it used to be a very expensive loan to do back in the day, but now they have also regulated that. You can pretty much get into a reverse mortgage with the same cost you would a regular traditional mortgage. So they've definitely changed that. But you're just using that equity in your home, and you just don't have a payment on those funds that you're using. Does that help? I have some information that will help better. Yes, sir.
Vicki, I got a two-part question. What is the percentage they can borrow against the equity of their home?
It's about 60%.
60, okay. And the second question, are there any credit restrictions, like score?
No, that's a great question, because you do not credit qualify at this time for this loan. And the guidelines are going to change a little bit, not that you'll have to credit qualify, but whereas now it doesn't matter what your debts are or what your credit score is, because it's solely based on the equity in your home. But there is going to be a change coming probably in the next month or so, where we have to at least verify that the homeowner can afford to pay their taxes and insurance, because that is one of the requirements of the borrowers. You have to keep up your property taxes and insurance.
So, I'm like, I'm trying to figure that. Okay, I have this house. I have, it's a $300,000 house. I have $200,000 worth of equity, and I come to you and say I want a reverse mortgage. What do y'all do? Exactly where does money change hands, and who?
At that point, what I would do is run a scenario for you, and it's going to be based on the youngest borrower. So whether it's you or your spouse, whoever's younger, we go by that age.
I'm young.
Okay, so we're going to use your age and the value of your home, and typically we start with tax value just to be conservative. And those numbers will dictate how much you're eligible for. Any closing cost, any origination fees, anything that's in there to do with the closing cost is all rolled into the loan. And at that point, I would say, okay, this is what you're eligible for based on your age at the time and the value of the home, or the estimated value of the home. And then all the numbers, it's all right there. It shows you exactly what you're paying and your cost involved in this loan.
And so, just say there's $200,000 worth of equity. You write us a check for $200,000?
No, you wouldn't be able to take all that equity. Again, you're only going to be able to get about 60% of it,
Okay, so
depending
you
on
write
the
us a
age.
check for 60% of it?
And I would say no to that. You would want to leave that money in a line of credit, and then whoever is the servicer of that loan, you can request that money as you want it, just like if you were drawing off an equity line. That's really kind of the best way to look at it. It's like an equity line sitting over here, that if you're not using it, it has a growth rate. It's actually earning money, okay? And then whatever you're taking from it, that's what you're paying the interest on.
Excuse me. Could you compare that versus just a regular home equity line that you can pull from?
The main thing on that is you don't have a payment. A lot of times, if you're looking at seniors that maybe are financially strapped, they're not going to have a payment. But as far as if that's not the case, if you're using it for a financial planning tool, you're still, one, not having a payment on that money you're taking, and the rate that it's earning money is actually higher than what the bank rates are right now, of what you could earn money on. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah. At some point you said earlier on that the debt does not pass on to your family, but then you also mentioned that they can leave the house to their families. What if at this point, Guy here and I would like to know, what if at the time you passed on or something, your equity line has exceeded, the interest has accrued and it has exceeded the value of the home. And you've passed that on to your kids. What happens then? When will the bank get their money back and how?
Very good question. If that happens, this is an FHA loan, so it has mortgage insurance. So if you pass that home on and it doesn't appraise for enough for them to sell it, it's considered a non-recourse loan, meaning that they won't have any equity back. They won't, if they sell it, there may not be any money to them, excuse me, but they will not owe any money. They cannot come to your heirs for the difference of that money. Now, let's just say the opposite happens and there is money there. They pay off the loan just like they would on a traditional mortgage. You've got to pay off the loan. And there's money left over, then that money would still transfer to the heirs.
And if they want to keep the house, they just pay off the loan? And
Correct, just like a regular traditional mortgage, if there's something owed, they pay off that mortgage and then they keep the house, or they have the right to sell it. Yes, sir.
Do your heirs become guarantors? Like, does it impact their credit or
Nope.
anything like that?
No, not at all. It cannot affect them at all.
Vicki, what's the main difference in abuse between, since it's the Fred Thompsons out there that are marketing these where they just sign and send back? Is it the fees, the interest rate?
You know, really, it's not. They're a call center. They're just a large servicing call center. Typically, the loans that I've had locally, and just this past month, I had 3 out of Thomasville, that all 3 of those folks, they had the Fred Thompson or the AAG, okay? But then they also have to go to a counseling course. They're required to take this, and this is the greatest thing that was probably ever implemented because it protects everyone from, say you've got the loan officer that maybe is not quite so honest, that was trying to do something, maybe to make money themselves. The counselor will then educate them on the reverse, and in most cases, they see the information, like if I've sent a proposal, I'll tell them, take it to the counselor, let them look at everything. And those counselors now will advise them to get 2 or 3 more estimates, which is a good thing, because, you know, it all keeps everybody honest, and that way, they get a chance to see if there's a better situation for them. But the cost for AAG sometimes is a little bit higher. They might have a little bit higher rates. But the main thing there is the borrower is not getting to meet with any, they are literally sending stuff back to a call center where people are just on the phone trying to see how many of these things they can close. So they don't even know a lot of times what they're signing. Does that help as far as the cost?
So when you said the change in estimate, so that's a change in the fees?
Yeah, it can be, it would be just like if you were comparing you were buying a home on a conventional loan and you're comparing lenders for rates and fees, they're doing the same thing. And that's where that counselor will advise them to get 3 or 4 estimates. Now, sometimes it can be very confusing to them, but it's still in their best interest to be able to look around. I always tell people, compare mine, because we don't charge excessive fees. You know, our bank's here to try to help seniors not make things worse. So I encourage people to look and compare them. Yes, sir.
The counselors work for, what, I mean, are they an independent group of people?
Yes, sir. They're actually, here in Greensboro, they're with the Consumer Credit Counseling, and they do this course. They do have to pay $125 to take the course themselves. It's just like an hour, hour and a half, and they're going through the whole thing to make sure that they understand how this works, and at the end of the day, what they're required to do, and financially, if it benefits them.
There's a United Way agency here.
Who is it? Okay.
They work, United Way gives them a pretty good sized grant to work with the seniors on that program.
Vicki, if a borrower outlives their borrowing power, in other words, if they get up to that 60% threshold, is there ever a time under a reverse mortgage that they have to make payments, or does it just kind of sit there?
They never have to make a payment. They can if they want, and that's another scenario. I have had families where the borrower does this because they just want a little comfort level back here, or maybe pay for some in-home health care, and they will on their own decide to make a payment back just to keep the interest down, so that their family, if they're inheriting the home, they won't have as much to pay off. But they never are required to make a payment. Yes, sir.
If the heirs inherit the house, and whether they decide to either keep it and pay off the mortgage or sell the house, is there a prepayment penalty
No.
that is paid
No,
off?
it's just like here traditional. if they did it, and I would recommend that you don't get one and then turn right around if you know a year later you're gonna move, because now you've got your closing costs and all in there, but they can pay it off at any time, no prepayment penalty at all. Yes, sir.
The counselors you mentioned, and you said are supported by United Way, what are their qualifications?
They are trained by HUD and FHA. They have to go through a lot of training themselves before they're eligible to even do that position.
And are they paid a salary or are they paid a commission?
They're paid a salary. They're paid a salary. Yes, sir.
What if the debt greatly exceeds the value of the home? I mean, you know, life expectancy have grown and grown and grown. What if people live, you know, some medical revolution comes along, people live to be 145, and your house is now worth $60,000 and you owe $200,000 on it.
That's where the mortgage insurance comes in, because at that point.
So then the taxpayer, all of us pay for it essentially.
Well, no, because they've paid mortgage insurance throughout this whole loan.
Oh,
that mortgage insurance is included in
the
the
borrower must
Yes.
have mortgage insurance.
Yes, this is just like and if you're not familiar with FHA, that's why that wouldn't make sense. But FHA loans, a traditional FHA loan has mortgage insurance on there, and that is what covers that. Anyone else?
All right, Vicki.
All right, well, thank y'all
Thanks
so much. And I've got some information.
Vicki, in appreciation for you coming to speak to us today, we're going to donate a book to Code Elementary in your name, and we'll inscribe it for you. You get Messy Me.
Oh,
And we're going to ask you to do one more thing for us. You guys will get your raffle tickets out. You can just pick one of these and call out the number. Yeah.
Shorts to go? Yeah.
All right, y'all ready? 715-941.
941.
Not very professional.
Any takers? Going once? All right, one more.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, got it.